We are the men of Texaco. We wear the Texaco star. We like to think of...
Welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and a build update of the MRC Texaco Station. A lot more going on than just the Texaco Station. As you can see, my brother Mike hooked me up with my own billboard. This is the coolest thing I have ever seen. No kidding. This is like steel. And then he made the billboard, and he built this base. This base is like smooth as a baby's behind. And there isn't a gap one in the joints on that wood. So, and it's not made out of plastic. This thing's made out of steel, too. It weighs probably 3 pounds. So you tell me that's not cool. We will definitely have this like in the parking lot for the Texaco Station. And how cool will it be to be able to park like finished cars on here and do my finale builds underneath the billboard. It's just so cool, Mike. I gotta thank you again. This is off the hook cool. So with that, I will pause. I'll bring the Texaco Station over, and we'll go over some of the stuff we got done here. All right, as you can see, we got the lift pretty well weathered. I have the air compressor built, and in the back we have our grease drum all set up and weathered. So this took me a little bit of time. These little things are like kits in their own. I'm not kidding. The grease drum and the air compressor probably took me better part of maybe 4.5 to 5 hours to spray, build, weather, and get ready to go. And the air compressor, well, neither one of them are really finished yet. Once I find the finished spot for them, we'll get them all set up and done. But right now, I just kind of put them inside the station while the guys were working, just checking everything out. Wayne, you're going to get in trouble up there. But I'm thinking everything's looking good. Give me a minute here. I'm going to shut this off again, and then I'm going to go into the rack, and I'll pull each one of these out, and we'll go over them one at a time. All right, let's start off with a lift here. What I do usually when I weather something is I pretty much make it look brand new and then go from there, and I start going backwards from there. And I've found that works really good for me. It might not be for everybody because a lot of people can see in their head what's supposed to be what and how it's all supposed to look, but I can't. So I have to start from fresh and then go from there. So let's talk about what I did here. First thing, on the rails themselves, and this glare isn't helping me any, but on the rails, you saw that I used the Tamiya's X4 blue on here, and then what I use is the two Weathermasters, the C and the D, and my black panel liner on this to kind of make grease and oil stains and smudges and paint wear marks and things like that. This works really well. This C Weathermaster, this silver I seem to be using a lot of with the darker colors, and the gunmetal I'm using a lot with like the lighter colors to give it that offset, and it's really working out well. But what I just did is I got the pads and I just kind of went across the whole rail and made it look like these rails were worn from these things dragging up and down on them and just wearing the paint out. I didn't rust it because there's enough oil in the shop to where this thing's not going to get rusty. But I did want to wear some of the paint off it, and then I wanted to gob up with a bunch of oil spills and things like that just to dirty it up and make it look like, yep, it was used. On the hydraulic ram, let me set this down. on the hydraulic ram, the first thing I did is I went over the whole thing. You know, I painted it with flat aluminum or with chrome silver. Let that dry for 2 days, and then I went over this in motion straight up and down with the Tamiya's panel liner and just made streaks in it. And before those streaks could dry, I took a Q-tip and I went straight down. And I did that all the way around that thing to give it that look of where it's going up and down in the cylinder and getting a little oil in there and a little bit of packing worn on it from the graphite packing and things like that, just to make it look more realistic is the only way I guess I can describe that. These shuttles, I'm really not sure what to call them. And I'll tell you what, if anybody can tell me what this pan's for, I would really appreciate it, because I don't have a clue. But on the shuttles, I'm calling these shuttles right now because that's the best thing I can figure for them. I used the panel liner inside, and then I dabbed it out. And then I came back with the gunmetal, and I went all the way around all the edges and gave it that metallic look to it. Came back on the handle where everybody's gripping and went across the red and made that go away, and just everything. And my dog's up there really ticked off because I'm still down here. But these things still turn. You know, everything will flip up and move and get out of the way. And it works out really well. But there's the front shuttle. And these back shuttles come off too. I'll grab one of these and show you this. Pretty much the same thing. I use the gunmetal on this and went down the rod, gave that a little bit of metallic look, wore the paint off of the handle, got the edges to where they're all metaled up and looking good. Just use your eye and go by what you think. It's weathering, so nothing's going to be, hey, you can't do that, you can't do this, you have to do that, why did you do that? Do it the way you want. It's just all by eye and how you feel that day. I'm sure if I came back here next week, I might do something different, but right now, I'm very happy with this. There's that one. The handle, I did the whole handle blue, and then I just kind of metaled out where they're going to be grabbing it and touching it and things like that, and where the grease is on the top here. Just dirtied it up. That's all it is. So this is looking really good. I'm very happy. I'm pretty much done messing with it now. So let me get it out of the way, and we'll go with the next one. We'll start with the grease drum. This is an awesome little kit. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to come down closer so I can get these in a little bit closer. All right, we'll start with the grease drum, and this was a lot of fun to weather. There's a lot of detail in this little guy. You got the power head on it. You got the two automatic greasers that look really nice. This little thing, there's 2 parts here, then the hose that wraps around, comes up to the swivel and into the pump. So this is really cool. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. But the weathering I did on this, geez, that landed perfect. What I used is park green for the drum, and then I used flat aluminum for the top. And I put the power head in and did all this in the flat aluminum. Then I let that sit and dry, and then I used panel liner, of course. Came back and I ran some panel liner down this way where it would run off the top here, just for little leaks and things like that. Did that on both sides, and then did it around the ring up here. I panel lined the little bolts that hold this to the top of the drum, and I let that sit overnight. And then today I came back with my panel, or my Weathermaster D, and the oil stain. And I went all over the top of this thing with the oil stain, and then I started dragging it straight down the drum, all the way around. This isn't even painted. This was just the white from the sprue. I didn't even paint it. I just came around it with the grease, and look at how nice that looks. Once that was done, I took the panel liner and I went around the rings on here where it would be running, and bumping into things, and I panel lined that. And as soon as I did it, I took my Q-tip and ran straight down over the top of that, just to drag that down across the white and down on here, where the grease would be building up and the dirt and somebody leaning on it and getting their nasty hands all over it. And that's it. That's all I did. Well, no, that's not true. I came back with the silver, and I went all the way around the rings on the drum where it would be rolling and bumping into the walls and stuff like that. And I took the paint off just by using the silver to make it look like that's part of the drum that was worn. There was no need to use any rust on this at all, because it's not going to rust with that much grease on there. So there's that one. And now, my pride and joy here. I'm telling you, I'm taking a lot of pride in this, because this thing is one amazing kit in itself. I am not kidding. Look at the detail in this air compressor. You start out here at the top with your air cleaner, down to the jugs. We have the outlet that goes down into the tank. In the front, we have the two, my finger is right in the way. And in the front, we have the two valves that run down, sends it from the low side to the high side. There's a hose that runs down and around that ties both of those together, that runs in front of the air compressor, or the flywheel. It all took a lot of time. The motor has the electric wire running from the motor to the pressure switch. The pressure switch even has a little pop-off on it, and every fitting is made in there the right way, just like they would be threaded together. I mean, that is very impressive there. And then off the back here of the pressure switch, I ran my electric line, which is just my 0.3 millimeter solder, and that goes up in the air here, just because when I get this in its final spot in the filling station, I'll glue this to the floor, I'll run this to the wall, run it up, and I'll build a little disconnect for it so you can shut it off. This thing even has the outlet pipe. I made the brass valve with a blue handle on it, just because I like the blue handle valves. And then the black pipe running over to the wall. We'll put a little junction here, and then on the wall I'll run up with compressed air line about, I don't know, chest high on there, so it'll be just about this high on the wall. And every once in a while I'll make a little block where it looks like it's got a water air separator and a hookup for hoses, because these guys are going to have some pneumatic tools going on. But the weathering on this thing, I painted this with, I got to reach over here, sorry. I painted this with RLM gray, which is a greenish color gray, if you look, and that's pretty much the same color compressor that I have at work in one of my buildings. It was like, that's a perfect color for this. The engine I just did in gall gray, the motor, and the pressure switch I did in a little bit darker. I can't remember the number or even the jar I used for the pressure switch, but it is a little bit darker than this. Didn't work out that way because I weathered it. But then once I had that, before I put everything together, I oiled this thing up pretty good, just because if you don't take care of these things, they're going to have oil all over them like that. And panel liner was the perfect job for that. Before I did any pastels or any of the Weather Masters, I did the panel liner, and what I did is I put it up top and then made sure it ran straight down. And with this paint being the flat, it really took that and it made it spread out really nice, and it was perfect. It did exactly the way it would look. We've all seen compressors that are just have oil all over them and they stain the tank. Even if you wipe them clean and everything, they're still going to stain that paint just like that. This thing even had a little gauge. It didn't have a decal for the gauge, but I found one in my decal box, put it on there, and then to make it look like it had the cover on it, I used Mod Podge. And I put a drop of Mod Podge on that thing and just let it dry. It did a good job. I really like that. So, but these little hoses were a bugger. It's kind of stiff vinyl hose, so I had to kind of heat it up a little bit with my lighter just to get it to go over top of the fittings on here. And then this one was so tight that I almost couldn't get it from here around. It just did not want to go until I heated this up with the lighter just a little bit. You got to really watch. You can melt that quick, fast, and in a hurry. But I heated it up just a little bit, and then I held it where I wanted it, just like that, until it cooled back off, and it held that spot, and it worked out perfect. Now, the little oil lines, they're just wire that came with this thing, and I treated that just like I do when I'm wiring my engines. I just put them in the hole, glued it in, and then ran them up and put them up on the top, and they stayed in position. I'm good with that. I'm done. But this thing is a cool little kit. I saw it, I was looking at it in the directions and everything, and I just thought, yeah, that's perfect. And it really is. Look at that. I mean, that is a perfect shop air compressor. So there is that. And pretty much that's all part of the build that I got done. I'm going to pause you for a second and back out because I got two other things I want to show you, and then I'll let you go. All right, the first thing I got to show you is in addition to our Texaco station, we have a McDonald's now. This is a cardboard McDonald's from an old kit. Rick had the model, and he showed this with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to put that with our Texaco station. And don't you know, he sent this thing out to us? So this is an old cardboard diorama of a McDonald's station. And you put it all together, and and it's a McDonald's station. There's even the roof and the front, McDonald's, the guy working the deep fryer. This guy's looking out the window over here at one of the girls walking by. Guy in the back doing the fry, and it even has the old root beer jug. But for cardboard, this thing is super detailed. So I'm not sure how I'm going to make it to where I don't mess it up or it doesn't start going bad. I'm going to go online and look that up before I even try to put this thing together. But this will be so cool. Next door to the filling station, along with the billboard in the back. I mean, this is going to be a neat diorama. I'm going to have to get a bigger table to put all this on when I'm done. But there is the McDonald's, and thank you again, Rick, because that is so stinking cool. And then lastly, I told everybody my shop cards are in. Here's one of them. I'm really super happy with this. I got front and back. And if you give me a couple of weeks, I'll get some of them sent out. I do have a bunch of people's addresses. Anybody else that would like one, send me an address and I will make sure I get it to you. I do have a list of people that I want to get to. I'll get a hold of you guys and make sure I have your addresses. But I'm super stoked with that too. It finally makes me feel like I'm a modeler instead of just well, it even says I'm a hack on the back, but but it makes me feel a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say professional because I'm never gonna be, but a little more real, I guess. But with that and everything else that I got going on, I will let you go. You all have a great day and a better tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.